back on this rap-ish. I ain't even broke a sweat, homie, this practice. Pondering my next move, staring at my track list. Hope I ain't missing my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own. Tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers, and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues. Guess if you ain't at the table, you on the menu. And I'm that spitter, baby. They don't want you to see, but everybody's south of Capitol Hill's rocking with me. Boys smoke the trays and ponder getting their life together. I'm comfortable with my role, so I'm like, whatever. Me? I ain't got a job, but I work hard. And you don't work hard, but you got a job. The irony is I'm judged while you feel the applause. I'm slept on, that's why I had to set this alarm. My dudes is armed, I'm armed with this arm charm. Body banging like she got that cream from Barry Bonds. Yeah.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
That Dre season is here, a real hitter with a mic, I'm everything that they fear. With that hood ain't the same, I was all on their ass, I'm level-headed. So yo, my dudes love when I spaz, and I'm so over Seattle's passive-aggressive attitude. They don't call you back, what they really saying is F you. While I'm from the same place, I move at a different pace. I prefer if you just said it to my face, damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Average dudes with they average spit, writing average rhymes, knocking average chicks. The closer I get, I can feel the people starting to shift. I'm loyal to a fault, and everybody can't come with. Rap's a rich man's game, I'm only playing with change. They bang models and singers, I'm knocking my old flame, I'm different. The crowd, I move with the chosen few. Black thoughts, I could be the front man for the roots. No diamonds and gold, I'm on my sticks and stones. If we can see your panty line, you should have on a thong. My team is strong, through this fire we forged a bond. And they already know what it is when I get on to the hearse. Party like it's December 31st. When I'm on my deathbed, I probably cracking my nurse. You ain't got the bars to compete. I'm a verbal athlete, deflating these boys so they say that I cheat. Damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
I should probably start by apologizing for the long wait, man. You know, I know I be tripping, but I'm not just a rapper, I'm an artist. And, you know, my creative process is a little bit different than most. Nonetheless, I want to welcome everybody out to the Dre's Experience. I got TCF in the building, my whole camp's here with me. I got the band in here laying this cool-ass vibe. And I'm Seattle's own. Let's get into it.
All right, good morning, everybody. I want to welcome you to the Morning Update Show. My name is Omari Salisbury. I'm flying solo today. My partner in crime, Trey Holiday, she has the day off. And we've got a short show today, too. So we're going to be short but sweet. Want to welcome you again, Morning Update Show, and tell you that right now is the perfect opportunity for you to tag and share the stream. Go ahead and tag and share the stream with people that you feel would appreciate culturally relevant news and information emanating from right here in the Emerald City. Going to touch on a few things here today, following up on what's going on down in Elizabeth City, North Carolina. You guys that watch the Morning Update Show, you know that I actually went to college in Elizabeth City. Me, my brother Kun, my brother Toon, my dad, aunts, uncles, some of everything. So this is one that we're following closely. I've been talking to a lot of friends down there, trying to see what's going on. It doesn't look good down there in Elizabeth City. Excuse me. Also, Joe Gwynn, state senator, he's coming for Dow's seat. And he announced he's running for King County executive. So looks like we got another race that's getting ready to heat up here. The race for King County executive. Also, yeah, there it is. Joe Gwynn running for King County executive. Also, what else we got in here today? Oh man, me and Jake Gravbrot, we yesterday we were out there at Alaska Airlines terminal at SeaTac as they launched the Commitment aircraft. We're gonna have a whole segment on it on Friday, but we're gonna touch a little bit about that. And we're talking about the Soulpole. up there on 23rd and Yesler, man. We got an update on the Soulpole. Real excited to share that with you and some of everything else. This is pretty cool because even though it's just me, I still get two angles today. And so I got to give a big thank you to our director, Alia D'Alessandro. You know what I'm saying? It's nice to see you. Left, right, left. But before we get going, though, you know, we got this picture here, and it was tweeted out by Bicentennial Baby, and it's a Converge mug right here. We got look at that one. First of all, look at them eggs, yo. It's cracking. But a big shout out to Bicentennial Baby, Bicentennial BB on Twitter. And we got the Converge mug right there. And want to remind you that a great way to support what we're doing here on Converge is to visit whereweconverge.com/shop. You know what I'm saying? You can spend a little coins with us. You can pick up a mug, you can pick up a shirt, some stickers, some of everything. And please believe anything that you purchase there goes a long ways in helping to keep us on air. All right, we're going to get things moving right here. We got a clip from CBS this morning as to the latest in Elizabeth City, North Carolina.
Relatives of a black man shot and killed by sheriff's deputies in North Carolina say they're not getting the full story. Deputies were trying to arrest Andrew Brown Jr. on a felony drug charge when the shooting happened. Lawyers for the family say a snippet of body cam video shows Brown with his hands on the steering wheel of his car when deputies opened fire. They call his death an execution. Manuel Bajorquez is in Elizabeth City, North Carolina, where he spoke to Brown's son. Manuel, good morning.
Good morning. A local state of emergency remains in effect here in Elizabeth City as people await a court hearing and a judge's ruling on whether video of the shooting should be made public. The family says the clip they saw yesterday had the deputies' faces blurred. They are angry and want the immediate release of all the raw footage.
It was just a horrific scene, a horrific video.
For the first time yesterday, Andrew Brown's son, Khalil Farabi, painfully watched the video of his father's death at the hands of law enforcement.
They were shooting at the very start of the video. My dad, he was on the steering wheel.
Hands on the steering wheel.
Hands on the steering wheel, yes. And they were still shooting.
More than half a dozen deputies confronted Brown on warrants related to drug charges last Wednesday. The family says he tried to drive away to save his own life.
He backs out, goes around them, and they're still shooting at him while he's driving off. They were still shooting at him after the car had already crashed into a tree. There was at no time in the 20 seconds that we saw where he was threatening the officers in any kind of way.
The 20 seconds came from a single body camera video from one deputy on the scene. They say that video was edited. No video has been made public. Ben Crump is the Brown family's attorney.
If they thought Andrew Brown Jr. did something inappropriately and criminal, you all would have seen that video by now. There was no need for them to be the judge, the jury, and the executioner that morning as he fled from them.
Say his name! Andrew Brown!
Protesters have marched peacefully across town for days, echoing the family's calls for transparency. Pasquotank County Sheriff Tommy Wooten.
This tragic incident was quick and over in less than 30 seconds, and body cameras are shaky and sometimes hard to decipher.
That doesn't matter to Brown's family, who hope the entire video can give them clarity.
What is going on inside of you right now?
Man, I'm getting ate up because I still don't have no closure. I still don't have what I want, you know, the answers that I'm asking.
The family says it will hold another news conference later this morning to reveal the results of an independent autopsy. They claim it will show that Brown was shot in the back of the head.
All right. Man, this looks like one of these cases where the more we dig into it, is the worse it's most likely going to get. This is also one of these things people talk about, like federal guidelines when it comes to policing. When we look at the release of body cams, it's different, like in almost every jurisdiction. Here in the city of Seattle, if there's a police-involved shooting in the Office of Police Accountability, they'll release the tapes within 72 hours. That's the law. We saw in Columbus, Ohio, there was a release there, and I think in less than 12 hours. And in North Carolina, it takes a court order to get the tapes. And I mean, that's why it's a push. People want these things. They want a national standard around police and policing. And I mean, another thing about this case is someone fleeing it does not give grounds for deadly force, right? So if someone's running away, that isn't grounds for use of deadly force. And I mean, what all the people are telling me down there in Elizabeth City is just like this is all bad in the worst way. Um, I think that I'll be heading down there soon enough. We don't really follow these stories because one is crazy because there's police shootings everywhere, but we got a lot of roots right there in Elizabeth City, and so it'd be good to follow that up. We'll stay on top of it. Next up, big news here in King County is Joe Gwynn announced he's running for King County Executive. This article here from The Stranger and Rich Smith over at The Stranger. And the thing is, King County, 12th biggest county in America, a county with a lot of money. King County got a lot of dough. It's a lot happening here. And Joe Gwynn, it's interesting here because in this article they got a picture of Gwynn. He's 14 years old, and he actually was a page for then state rep Dow Constantine. So it's almost like maybe mentor, mentee kind of thing. But Joe Gwynn is saying things that are important to him: police accountability, mass transit, and climate change. Right. But then also he calls Dow out here, right? He says it's easy to go to photo ops. It's easy to go to press conferences. It's harder to have a conversation with the community. Now, yeah, this is what Joe Gwynn says here in The Stranger, and this would be interesting because the executive, we kind of had some inklings that Joe Gwynn was going to announce. We had a feeling probably about, I don't know, a few weeks ago. Then also, you can always tell when somebody's getting ready to announce by going to like their Twitter or social media, and then they start making all these profound statements and everything else and da. And I was like, we didn't get the usually we get like the information embargoed is what they say, and they'll let us know in advance when somebody is going to announce. We haven't heard from Joe Gwynn and Joe Gwynn's camp. Hopefully we will. It'd be good to get Joe Gwynn on here. We had Executive Constantine on here a few weeks ago. So it'd be good to get Joe Gwynn on here and really see what it is that he wants to do differently than Executive Constantine. Talk more to Joe Gwynn about his platform and some everything else. But this race is heating up, and I'm going to tell you that King County executive seat, a lot of times, the executive, for one reason or another, is a position a lot of people don't kind of pay attention to. Of course, the mayor of Seattle is a big spotlight position, as well as the city council is one of those big positions. But county executive, man, it's in competition this year. So we'll see what's going on with that. Wanted to follow up on something here. Reached out to the Seattle Police Department this morning about the shooting on Friday that was out there on the Rainier Beach neighborhood. This 16-year-old boy. This is horrible. I think we got the SPD blotter overlay up there. This 16-year-old boy went to answer the door, and when he answered the door, he was shot and murdered right out there on Rainier Beach. I reached out to the Seattle Police Department this morning to see if they had any updates around this case. The Seattle Police Department got back to me and said that they don't have any updates at this time. You can take that one down. They don't have any updates on this time about this murder. So we stay in constant communication with SPD around, these murders that are happening in our community. Especially these young people. This is the second juvenile in a month. And we can't forget the 2-year-old girl was shot up there at on 23rd and Jackson. But I did want to point something out, is that, and I wanted to acknowledge this. I want to acknowledge King County Council Member Gurmai Zahalai. And Gurmai Zahalai could give a master class just on empathy, right? He said, I'm devastated to see another teenage boy was shot and killed in Rainier Beach on Friday. If anyone has the family's contact, I would love to send my condolences. We will keep working to end gun violence and uplift community safety. Just that act right there. This is what we've been missing from elected officials here in the city of Seattle. People, when it comes to this epidemic of gun violence, we get silence from the leadership. Here it is. This is Council Member Zahalai. He didn't speak about an investigation. He didn't speak about, technicalities of it. He spoke to the trauma that this family has now been impacted in the neighborhood and the community. And what's amazing to me is how quiet these elected officials continue to remain when it comes to the death of Black and brown people here in Seattle. The only time they say anything is if it's the police involved, if that. But look at this. I'm guessing these Black people here, they're not on the radar of these elected officials here in Seattle. And also the amazing thing is it's like, man, humanity don't know like political districts. Just because you in District 6 don't mean that you can't show empathy towards people that are struggling in District 2 or District 3 or whatever districts it are, man. It's like it's a bunch of fiefdoms here, small kingdoms or whatever. Like, this is a city. People don't understand. Whole neighborhoods are being impacted. Yes, there's the individual that's been murdered. Then there's that individual's family. Then there's the whole community and everything else. And it's like King County Council Member Gurmai Zahalai, he just gets it. Probably because he don't have to like talk to his comms team and figure out, should they say something or not. It's just intuitive. And that's why people gravitate towards Council Member Zahalai. I mean, the continued silence that we get from elected officials in this city when it comes to this epidemic of gun violence that's impacting our communities, especially in District 2 and District 3. I mean, it's just incredible. And people hide behind this ordinance. And the ordinance basically says that anything that's under police investigation or this or that or whatever, they can't speak on, yada, yada. Man, whatever. You can definitely speak to the fact that a neighborhood has been impacted. And even that ordinance usually only goes to something where it's like, when there's police involved, the police shooting or this and that. Man, and this is something, and I'm glad that we picked up this tweet here from King County Council Member Zahalai, because it's just an example. Go right now. I challenge people, go right now and check the Twitters of the elected officials in these districts. See if they're acknowledging that their constituents are feeling trauma right now. See if there's an acknowledgement of that. I mean, it's what's not happening. And, like I said, I really want to uplift the fact that it's like Council Member Zahalai really, putting it out there. And the thing is when these elected officials and leaders acknowledge what's happening, it brings a sense of humanity to the whole situation. It brings a sense of humanity. It brings a sense of like, oh, okay, well, at least they're acknowledging that we're impacting here. And so by staying quiet, all these elected officials are doing is further entrenching what people already think, that a lot of times there is no sense of humanity when it comes to these Black lives right here. You don't see it. If it's out there, man, let me know. You know what I'm saying? I'm all for it. You want to come on here and talk about it? Let's do that. But, y'all got to stop being quiet, man. We see through it. Real deal. We see through it. We're going to switch gears here. Like I said, we got a short show today. I got a lot of good stuff on the other side of the break. We're We caught up with the Black Action Coalition over the weekend. They did an event up there at Jefferson Park, checked in with Alaska Airlines on their commitment jet, and then also an update on the Soulpole. You're watching the Morning Update Show. The story of Converge Media did not start at the Seattle protests or at the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, nor 4 years ago when we very first opened our doors. The true story of Converge Media is firmly rooted in the legacy of Black media heroes of yesterday, whose shoulders that we stand upon today. Converge Media is firmly rooted in the pioneering spirit of Horace Caton Sr., who over 125 years ago launched the Seattle Republican newspaper alongside his wife, Susie Revels Caton, a trailblazer in her own right, serving as the associate editor, a groundbreaking feat for a woman and especially a Black woman at that time. We are rooted in the visionary eye of Al Smith, who documented Black beauty, culture, vibrance, and excellence through his lens. We are rooted in the benevolence of Fitzgerald Beaver, who envisioned the Facts newspaper, the very same newspaper where my father, James Salisbury Jr., was a staff photographer over 4 decades ago. We are rooted in the broad and innovative shoulders of Chris Bennett, who with his Z-Twins radio took the story of Black excellence to the airwaves. We are rooted in the fearlessness of Roberta Bird Barr, who 56 years ago broke ground and shattered stereotypes as she hosted the TV show Face to Face that tackled issues of race and equity head on. We are rooted in the rhythms of Gordon Curvey, whose music Inner City brought our culture and vibes to TV screens across the Emerald City. Converge Media is also inspired by our contemporary icons. We are inspired by the commitment to storytelling from Tony B and Rainier Avenue Radio, and inspired by the passion and dedication of Marcus Harrison Green of the South Seattle Emerald. So you see, when you look at Converge Media today, and especially as we celebrate the 1-year anniversary of the Morning Update Show, just know that our story did not begin with us, nor will it end with us, as it is our duty at Converge Media to broaden our shoulders for the next generation of Black media innovators, to stand firmly upon them and to tell the stories of our community to generations yet to come. Share the stream.
Public Health, Seattle, King County, Zero Youth Detention, along with our partners from across the South King County region, are committed to reducing violence and creating the conditions needed for our neighborhoods to be safe and free of crime. Too often, the response to crime and violence has been a piecemeal approach with a program here and a program there. When family units collapse, schools fail to educate, the economy fails to produce jobs, and crime rises, we've looked to law enforcement and punitive measures to save us. Nothing could be more wrong or further from the truth. Law enforcement can't shoulder all the burden or take the rest of us off the hook. We are acknowledging the lived experiences of Black, Brown, and Indigenous communities. We are centering community as the experts who can effectively identify key issues related to systems, policies, and practices that impact children, families, and communities of color across this region. Those most impacted by the issues will help call out and identify the root causes, including structural and systemic factors. 150 residents will partner with King County to develop strategies, solutions, and an action plan that explicitly addresses system changes needed and eliminates barriers to access for Black, Brown, and Indigenous folks. These residents will also identify the criteria used to measure our collective success. Simply put, we need your help as we do the work needed to make King County the safest in this country. It will take specific commitments from all of us, community members, our young people, elders, and leaders from the sectors all across this region. Together, we will get this work done. Please click the link below and sign up for a work group. Or you can recommend a co-facilitator from community for each work group. We look forward to hearing your ideas, concerns, feedback, and solutions as we build a community where all our children can be happy, healthy, hopeful, safe, and thriving.
All right, welcome back to the Morning Update Show. My name is Omari Salisbury, flying solo today. Trey Holiday has a day off. Good for her. You know what I'm saying? I think will Trey be back? Maybe tomorrow. We'll see, but she definitely deserves a break from, from the morning update show. And a lot of times it's bad news we're delivering, but no bad news here in this segment. Got a few different things we're talking about. First of all, over the weekend, made it up to Jefferson Park and checked in with the Black Action Coalition. This is a group that actually started during the Seattle protests and has really been focused on trying to deliver what they call trauma-informed care to community members. A lot of people who've been impacted by the Seattle protests, but other things as well. And so they had an event with like healing circles, a lot of resources for people. People need different resources. One in dealing with impacts of trauma, job skills, housing information, all kinds of different stuff there. But here's this segment here from Sunday at Jefferson Park.
We are having our Black Health and Welfare. It's super cool. It's super fun. We have some healing circles going on, some free food going out to the community. We're also here giving resources with Seattle Public Utilities. We have some artistry going over, some face painting for the kids, just a lot of community building, and a lot of people just having fun. We're all in community with one another, learning about resources. We have some free groceries over here underneath the green Seattle Parks Recreation tent. We have Seattle Public Utilities that are offering resources right now for assistance with paying your bills. So we're trying to get you resources paying your bills. We have Blue Cone Studios right over here doing some artwork, which is super dope. They're going to come over and explain what it is that they're doing.
It was a real honor for Seattle Public Utilities staff to get invited to come here by the Black Action Coalition and the Community Cares Coalition. It's really exciting for us to come out and be able to tell people about all of the different kinds of things that we try to provide in order to, be a strong part of our community.
All right, so tell us some of the vendors that's popped out to you. Like you went by a table and you're like,
well, the person that I love is Black Moon Muse. Is super, super cool. The African Center for African Thoughts right over here, super cool. We have the CMOS Boss right over here that is talking about CMOS and alkaline-based diets. Another person that is super, super cool is Pashon Collective. They're talking about like healing and sage and all that great stuff as well too.
We look forward to doing this more with the Black Action Coalition and the Community Cares Coalition.
So we see there, that was Mami Hara from Seattle Public Utilities. So there was actually quite a few different groups from the city that was up there as well. SPU, Seattle Parks, also Public Health King County. The county was there as well, giving different resources. So Black Action Coalition, good to see. They're creating events for community. Everything was free, by the way, and they had these meal tickets, and I don't know if it's just because it was me or if people know that I probably but either way, I got 2 of the meal tickets, and I had so much food there. It was like jerk chicken, some everything else, free food for everybody, free resources. Big shout out to the Black Action Coalition on that. Now, yesterday, wasn't here yesterday. Me and the big fella, Jake Grabrot, we got invited by Alaska Airlines to come out there to the airport as they unveiled their new plane. The name of it is called Commitment. It's in United Negro College Fund livery, as you know, that's what you would say. It's like the painting, the color of it. But before I got a little B-roll, before I play this here, and we got a real nice segment that's coming out on Friday for Feel Good Friday. So we're putting that together. So I'm just doing some highlights here today. But when Alaska Airlines reached out to me and they were like, we got this plane that we're doing with the United Negro College Fund, I was like, I was like, nah, I'm good, because, since George Floyd, we've been approached by a lot of different corporates who have this new DEI initiative, and they want Converge to cover it. And, we pass on that. I'm like, come on, man. I mean, I guess you recently woke, or whatever the term is. Good for you. Keep that same energy. Let's talk 2-3 years from now, right? And so when Alaska Airlines hit me about a partnership with United Negro College Fund and an airplane, I was like, nah, I'm good. And I was getting ready to hop off the phone, and the woman was like, yeah, well, we've been doing this for over 15 years. And I was like, oh, word? And that really changed like the whole trajectory of it. We weren't even going to cover this. And then when I realized that Alaska Airlines has had this commitment for over 15 years of working with the United Negro College Fund, like it really, changed my viewpoint on the airline itself. People who know me, I'm a big Delta guy, Delta Diamond, like I said, through and through. But like what we saw yesterday out there at Alaska Air, man, it was real special. If you could play some of the video. So that's the plane right there, commitment. And it's dope. And so he's got these quotes on it from Nelson Mandela, also Martin Luther King. The time is always right to do what's right. They had a panel discussion out there yesterday in the hangar. This is the aircraft. They get ready to pull it out. You know what I'm saying? And on the plane, the side of the plane, the images of children of Alaska Air employees that are there on the plane. And there we go. We flew around Mount Rainier and made it back. Maya Angelou, when you learn, teach. When you give. Real special day yesterday out there with Alaska Airlines, and we got a full segment that we're gonna air on Friday for Feel Good Friday. But big shout out to everybody at Alaska Air. And it was real dope because it wasn't overproduced. Like you kind of get the feeling like that's just Alaska swag. It wasn't overly like whatever, you know what I'm saying? It was real. They let the media in before they let the Black employees into the space so we could capture reaction. And was like, man, the reaction of the employees there was like, it was so dope. Then like even all the way down to the food where they had Jerk Shack was there, Campfire Coffee. There's another one. I get the name. They had the desserts out there, some of everything else. And I mean, you could just tell like the intentionality of Alaska Air. So big shout out to them. It was a great experience being on that plane. Last thing I have for you today is we have an update from the Soulpole. You guys might remember we went up there talking about on 23rd and Yesler. The Soulpole it was installed in the early 70s out in front of Douglas Truth Library in the Central District. And the pole needs to be uninstalled because it's like basically falling apart. We caught up with Stephanie Johnson Tolliver, SJT, from the Black Heritage Society of Washington State, as well as Tom Fay from Seattle Public Libraries. And man, they were talking about the history of the Soulpole.
This corner is so significant at 23rd and Yesler. You can go in almost any direction from here and be touched by some history, some African-American history in this community. The Soulpole, what I like to call the anchor of 23rd and Yesler, right? It's so significant and important to our community. And the Soulpole actually was a project with Model Cities back in the late 1960s. City of Seattle, with Model Cities, put money aside for arts and culture programs. And through that, money was shifted to the Rotary Boys and Girls Club. At the time, it was Rotary Boys Club. And with an artist there, Gregory X, and 6 students, they put together this really beautiful pole that's an interpretation of 400 years of African American history. The project actually came to my attention several weeks back when the historian at the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority reached out to me and said that the library was proposing to deinstall the pole. The deinstallation meant that they really needed to look at the pole more close. There were some issues with, they thought potentially some bugs were in there working away at the wood. and they didn't want a situation where the pole would just collapse one day. We drive around the corner, see the pole on the ground. So taking it down, taking a look, and then bringing it back to this spot.
My name is Tom Fay. I'm the interim chief librarian for the Seattle Public Library. We actually had Art Tech come out. We had some concerns as we looked at the pole, some cracking. It looks like we may have some little critters that are also trying to help the Soulpole out by living inside there. So Art Tech came out and did their original inspection and kind of an early evaluation. With that information, they came back and said, well, the little critters we probably need to take care of, and we need to actually get the pole down so that we can actually have the pole fumigated, which will actually then make sure that we also don't disrupt any of the other things that are happening with the wood, because we want to make sure that the wood is solid. And then once we have it down, they can really evaluate it and say, okay, is the wood having damage, other types of damage from the water, from the heat, any kind of cracking. And so once it's down, they can get a much better evaluation. And then that way they can tell us what the preservation and the restoration plan is. If you do come by Douglas Truth Library and come out to the front of the Soulpole, you'll see a sign out in front that asks you to reach out to us at www.spl.org/Soulpole. And if you had anything to do with the Soulpole, we want to hear from you. So if you go to that page, you can definitely get hold of us there. Just call the public library as well, the Seattle Public Library. We'd be glad to take a call and route it to the right people. But we want to hear about the experience of the youth who actually put this together. We know many of the folks that actually worked in this project in the early days in the 60s may not be with us anymore. We realize that. But we hope some of the youth are still in the community and can actually bring us a little more history. The Seattle Public Library has its own special collections. We do oral histories, we collect the culture and history of Seattle. And we really want to know more about this piece because there's just not that much about it.
The Black Heritage Society of Washington State with the Historic Central Area Arts and Culture District are on this, right? We're watching. We got a really good feeling and vibe from Seattle Public Library. We feel like we're on the same page. But what we don't know is that when the pole comes down and it goes to a conservator, someone who's worked in this community for a long time, Art Tech, and I trust them, that they're going to analyze the situation and then report back. And then we'll know from there exactly what's going to happen. But all fingers crossed and very hopeful that the pole will be back on this site.
The big thing for us is that this is a huge part of this community, and not just the area around Douglas Truth, but for all of Seattle. It's a part of our history. Come out to www.spl.org/Soulpole. There'll be more updates there, and you can actually get hold of us. If you were one of the youth that participated in this, please contact us.
All right, the Soulpole. Reached out to Seattle Public Libraries this morning before we came on air. Talked to Elisa Murray, that's the digital communication strategist there. And here is the update: is that yesterday the Soulpole was deinstalled. Art Tech Fine Art Services deinstalled the Soulpole with a lot of care. They deinstalled it, and then it's going to go now for fumigation. And then once they fumigate it, it says here that after fumigation, the Soulpole will be transferred to an art storage facility. Indoor storage will allow some of the humidity in the wood to dry out and harden, at which point it can be more fully assessed for restoration. I think the thing is you see Stephanie Johnson Tolliver is on the job. like she is on it. The Black Heritage Society of State of Washington is on it. And I mean, in all my conversations with Seattle Public Library, they really want to see the Soulpole restored and put back. So we'll stay on top of this. And also, if you know any of the original artists of the Soulpole, definitely reach out to spl.org/Soulpole. They're looking for you. They want to talk to the original artist of the Soulpole. I think that's it for us today. We got a short show here today. Did I miss anything, all you? Got it? Okay. Well, hey, the director said I was perfect today. So, I mean, there's no better way to end than with that. We are back here tomorrow, 11 a.m. Just a reminder, this Thursday at 7 p.m., the Emerald is celebrating their 7th year anniversary. 7 years for the South Seattle Emerald, and we're going to be part and parcel of those celebrations. So that'll be Thursday at 7 p.m. So we're looking forward to that. We're going to go ahead and get out of here. As usual, I want to remind everybody to go forward in your purpose and go forward in your humanity. And until tomorrow at 11 a.m., peace.
Lift every voice and sing till earth in heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun.